Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
My name is Darwin.
And today we're going to be talking about...
Wait, before you say that,
What?
guys, it's 5 o'clock right now. This episode's supposed to go live at 6.
Yes.
But we said that we was not going to let you down. So it might not be 6 when this goes live, but we promised ourselves that we was going to upload every Monday. Things are crazy right now for us.
Yes.
Like, legit crazy. So this was more of poor planning, but we didn't want to skip it because...
It was poor planning, but we also had a very busy weekend.
Yeah.
It's not like we were just sitting around. So it was just
and you
too
wasn't
much.
feeling too good like on our recording days.
On Friday, right. So it was just a lot going on. But we're here and we're going to upload this
Today. This should go on today. Raw, uncut.
So just know that when you see this episode, if you watch it on Monday, this was literally recorded a couple hours before you watched it.
So we're recording, straight to the house, editing, and uploading.
Woo.
But today, what we got on the table, Jessica Nunez.
So today we're going to be talking about how we have a successful business and marriage at the same time, simultaneously.
It's horrible.
Because like you guys know, we are married, of course. Duh. Right? And so...
not really. We could be friends. If you're a new listener, we are married. Husband and wife.
Well, yeah, if you're new, then maybe you don't know that. But if you aren't, it's obvious at this point that we are married. So we do business together, but we're also married. So how do we do it? Some people say that they can't work with their significant other. They find it very hard to spend so much time with their significant other.
I mean, for us, it's been great.
Yeah. I mean...
And we don't even do this full time.
At this point, we're not together.
We're not? You're leaving me?
No. We're not together all day, every day, because right now we both work 9 to 5s, and he works from home sometimes, but most of the days he's working in an office outside of the home. I work from home. And so... But I still feel, regardless of the fact, even if we were to be every day in the house, just working together, I don't think we have an issue just because we do get along quite well.
Yeah.
And we have many things in common. We're always talking about like different things and, just throwing out ideas. And I just never feel like I just had enough of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a bad sign if, like, you can't be in a room with...
What?
Like, that's a bad sign in your marriage. Like, if you can't spend a day working with your partner, one, you guys are building something for each other.
Yeah, but there's some people that feel... I've heard people say that, like, they get tired of being around the other person for too long.
This is how I see it. If it was something where we're doing something and is one task that we both have to do, let's say editing a video, and we both have to edit this video every single day, 24/7. It will get frustrating because we're clashing, right? You can be like, oh, no, my idea of this video is this way. And I'll be like, no, my idea of this way is this way.
Okay, you could have two different editing styles and you guys are bumping heads.
So the way for it to work, if you starting a business together, is you have to delegate what each person does. So like if she's reaching out to brands, like I have no reason to be in the email, besides just like
or
looking
telling
at
me
it.
how I should be sending the email, what the email should say.
Exactly.
Like you should respect me enough and know that I know enough how to handle it, and you don't have to step over my toes.
And you would ask me, like,
right,
if we're gonna reply, or hey, should I word this differently? And I can give her like, oh yeah, put it like this way, or give her an idea. But it's not like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, she knows what she needs to do, and I know what I need to do.
Yeah, I think for the most part, we're pretty good when it comes to that. We can't completely say, like, we've never butt heads, with anything.
I mean, we just did it before picking this topic.
Yeah. Like, sometimes, for instance, like, that's something that we can say sometimes we butt heads. Like, he wants to, like, talk about, like, purely business. And I'm like, no, I have a good relationship topic.
Well, because for her, she's, like, always into relationship. I'm like, I don't want to bore you guys with just a relationship because we have so much more to offer as well.
It's not really about that. Sometimes, like, as I'm watching things, I start jotting it down, and let's say, like, if the topic is fresh in my head, I want to get it out because sometimes
But that's
I
the way I
forget.
feel.
Yeah. And see, we could butt heads with that kind of stuff. And so we have to like get to a certain point where it's like, okay, let's kind of talk about both things, or let's record 2 episodes, that same day. Like, we just have to come to an agreement. But for the most part, I feel like we're pretty good with that. And we kind of understand that in order for us to be successful in what we do, we need to get along and we need to have communication, or else it's not going to work. And it's just going to be miserable for me or him or both of us. And then who wants to work with someone like that? I mean, that sucks.
I mean, and also marriage and business is about problem solving. So like, even if you're not in your own business, if you have somewhere where you work, usually it's multiple people and you have to come to one decision.
Right. It's also very important to not make the other person feel less important.
Yeah.
Or like their opinion is less important. I let it know right away. Like, whenever I'm feeling uncomfortable or anything, or I'm just, you already know, I'll be giving the eye roll. Like, I'm like, I didn't like that, or why did you say that? You have to speak about it, because you also can't just keep it to yourself, because then again, you bottling up things that you just don't have to bottle up, and it's unnecessary, and it just becomes more drama at the end of the day, because, you kept a little grudge from the other day where he said something that you took offense on, and you just kept it to yourself and didn't say anything. And it's like, he doesn't read my mind. He doesn't know how I was feeling about it. So that's very important. Sometimes what may feel a little offensive to me because I'm in my own head he might have not tried to be offensive, but I took it that way. And so it's important to be honest and open about everything.
And another thing is that it comes a time where somebody just has to be the authority and make some decisions, and that person can't feel bad.
Very
right?
true.
For example, there's most of the times I will make the like, hey, we need to do this and we need to do it this way, because obviously I'm more involved on like the creative and the production side of it. So it's like, you can give me like tips or like, oh, maybe we should do this or try this way, but we can't spend 3 weeks going back and forth like, no, this way, no, this. Nah, we're doing it this way, and if we need to change it, we'll figure it out.
And you also need to know like what are the strong traits of each person. Like, I already know he's a strong trait when it comes to like managing money, for example, or like budget. And so,
are you admitting that you like to spend money?
I do. I love to spend money. I've never denied that. But you need to know, like, you need to be honest with yourselves. Like, what is the strong trait of each person? And just lean into that. And it's okay. Like, if you are not the strongest in one section, let the other person take over. And it's all about trust as well. I just feel like if there is no trust in the relationship itself, you have very little possibilities of having a successful business. Because trust is everything.
Business and anything you do.
Correct. And you want to trust that the other person has your best interest at hand, and that they're not going to screw you over. And, especially when you're married and you have joint everything, you want to make sure that the other person is being responsible and that they're not making selfish decisions. So, I mean, there's so many little things to take into consideration, which is why it's so important to make sure you choose the correct person to marry, because it's so much more than just a piece of paper. So much more than just you going into in the altar or maybe courtroom and being legally married. I mean, there's so much more that comes with that.
Yeah, and like, visualize yourself before you even start the business. Like, you can sit down and be like, maybe we are a partnership. Like, that person should still support you whether they're involved in the business or not. But don't make it seem like, oh, we're married, we need to start this business together.
Right.
Because I might be wanting to start a business that you have zero interest in.
Correct.
And it's like, oh, I have to bring you on because you're my wife?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like, this, we do it because we both have interest in it.
It's
and that's
a
how
mutual
it
interest.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. That's a great point. I think that sometimes, we can't forget that even though you're married, you're two individuals with two different heads and two different mindsets. And so for us, it just happens that we our ideas intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
They go together. So it works for us. And, you know, the business ventures that he's spoken about and the ones I've spoken about relate to each other. So it works. But it's very true. If you, as an individual, as a husband or as a wife, have a business idea and your partner doesn't really show any interest on that, I mean, you don't have to make them feel bad for not wanting to be a part of it, because, I mean, if you're into baseball and your business is all about baseball and your wife really isn't interested in that, she's entitled to not be interested.
But I mean, for an example for us, there was a time that, I mean, it's still probably in the works, but that you was going to start product X, right? Mm-hmm. And I told you I don't want nothing to do with it, but I will help you fund it. I will help you market it because I'm strong at those things. But I was like, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
I could give you ideas on how to do it for you to succeed, but I don't want to be involved in the daily, like finding manufacturers and stuff like that, because it will slow me down because I have no interest in it.
Yeah.
I want to see you succeed, but I don't care about the business.
Right. You would support me, but it's my project.
So it's up to you to speak up, because if you join it just to be like, oh, I'm going to be supportive, then if things was to pick up, they're going to notice that you're just slacking because you have no passion for it, no love for it. So for me, it was easier for me to just tell her up front, I support you, but I'm not doing any of the back end.
Right. And that's totally okay. I mean, again, at the end of the day, we're two different people and we should be able to support each other without having to drag the other person, into our interest. But as long as they're there just supporting us, I think that's enough.
It's not like you're going to come the night like, hey, babe, what do you think?
Yeah, don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. I told you I don't want nothing to do with it. Nah.
No, not like that either, but,
And it's funny because I told you that, but I still got involved.
I mean, you always do.
Yeah. But it was more to give you like a push.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to be involved. It was like, hey, this is what I found.
He says that, but in the back of his mind, he's like, if he sees something that sparks like some research on regarding the topic we were talking about, he'll dive a little into it.
Because I want you to win. I just don't want to be involved.
I understand. Complicated, right?
Yeah, it's marriage.
So I also think that in order to have like a successful business and marriage, like I touched on earlier, you also need to make sure that you both tap into your strong area so that you both end up feeling fulfilled personally. Because everybody, when they have a job, even if they're at working for someone, if you're happy with what you do, there's something about what you do that makes you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So the same thing should go for when you have your own business. You should tap into whatever your strong suit is, or whatever that like have a purpose within the business so that you feel personally fulfilled and not just like, oh, I'm just here because, this is what we should be doing. Like everybody should feel like fulfilled in their own area.
Yeah.
Like what would you say makes you feel fulfilled about this business venture that we're on?
We both enjoy it.
But what makes you feel fulfilled about it? Is it just the idea of you building something from the ground up? Is it?
I mean, that's always like, yeah.
Is it the creative part? Is it the editing? What is it?
Definitely not the editing.
Yeah, I know that for a fact.
What makes
any editors out there, who enjoy that? you want to be part of our team?
Oh, I know. So like thinking of a concept of whether it be a podcast, a photo shoot, and like bringing it to life and actually think. Because once it happens,
like coming up with creative ideas.
Not necessarily just creative, just like thinking of something, a business or a product, and like the process of making it reality. Once it's there, I'm happy, but I'm ready to like, okay, what's the next move?
So just seeing your creative ideas, your mental ideas come to life.
The problem solving, which very stressful to create anything. It's like it's a puzzle to bring something to life. even like the photos we do is like, okay, this has a match, this has a match, location, camera, lights, blah, model, all that. But then you get the final result and you're like, yeah, that was dope. We did that. We did that. The studio is like, when we was putting this together, like I'll go to Photoshop, like I can't like super render it out how it looked, but I'll put a rug on the floor and I'll put the curtains up and I'll put the TV up, and I was like, okay,
He does like a visualization on the computer, which I think is so cool.
And it's not perfect, but you see it, like what you see here is what I put in Photoshop. So like bringing that to life was like, okay, awesome. I'm ready for the next one.
I agree with that. Yeah. I feel that way too.
And that we enjoy what we're doing at the same time.
And for me, you know, like I've always had this passion personally. What fulfills me is I've always had this passion of being somewhat in the entertainment world. I always loved fashion. I always loved like photography, being like a photography model. I always loved the idea of like one day like being in a commercial or doing something like that. And I feel like this platform is giving me the space to do that on my own with my husband. I mean, for me, it's not more perfect. Like, it can't be more perfect for me. And to see, like, you know, when I have an idea of like, oh my God, like I want this kind of look on me. And now, like that I'm in my 30s, I'm finding my style and I'm learning a lot more about fashion. I thought I knew about fashion. Okay. So I'm learning like a lot of new things and how to style myself, you know, on a higher level. I'm elevating my style, guys. Okay. And I'm learning so many new things that get me excited. And for me to like think about, okay, this is the look I'm going for. And then like shop for the items. And then you say, okay, let's do like this little video. Yeah. And the video I had in my head come to life, that fulfills me as well. So like also like thinking about like creative ideas and then actually watching it come to life. And
seeing the growth too. And honestly, sometimes when you guys message us or like if we see each other in person and you guys be like, oh, you guys quality or what you're doing. Shout out Nick. Yeah. You know, things like that really make me happy because it feels like, okay, I am taking the right steps and people are noticing because you don't always hear it, especially on channels like this. Like, oh, your camera looks great. Yeah. They was like, oh, this was a great combo. So like for me, listening, like, okay, people are noticing that things are getting better and the sets are looking better. And I'm never satisfied. So it looks great, right? But there's always room for improvement.
Not that you're never satisfied, more like you're always looking for more improvement.
Yeah,
but
never satisfied.
Yeah, but it's not like you've looked at your work and been like, oh, I don't really like that. Like, it's not like you feel unfulfilled all the time. I feel like you take pride in what you do, but you're always looking to like,
yeah, it should be. It can always be better.
It just sounds bad when you say you're never satisfied. I don't think that.
Proud but never satisfied.
Okay, whatever. I'll just give up.
Sorry.
So yeah.
I mean, I feel like we could wrap it up because I gotta go edit and this needs to go live.
No, but I also want to say that, you know, having a business with your significant other isn't always ideal for everyone. That this isn't what should be happening with every marriage. There's some people who just they don't want to work together. Their personalities clash, and, you know, that's totally fine as well. Like, you don't have to have a business, you know, with your partner.
But support is mandatory.
Support is very key. I do think that no matter whether you're in business with your partner or not, you should be supportive of what they do, unless they're doing something that's destructive. Yeah. You know, and in that case, then you shouldn't be with that person in the first place, which is another conversation. But yeah, you should always be supportive of what your husband or wife does. I think that's key. And yeah, the reasons why, to sum it up, the reasons why I feel like we are successful, if you might say it that way. I feel like we haven't reached success yet.
It's relative to everybody.
But I feel like the reasons why we have a successful or have success in business and as a marriage is because we are respectful with each other. We don't hold grudges. We have communication. We don't try to belittle each other. You know, it's not like you're higher than me or I'm higher than you. You're trying to help me. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
This is a team effort. You know, it's fully team effort. We're here to conquer the world together.
Yeah. And also, like she mentioned, like if we seem successful to you, like if this is something, like a relationship like this is what you like want and like are manifesting, like what you see from us is how we are. Like
Always.
period. It's not like we don't put on a show for a camera. Any of our friends can vouch for us. Like this is literally how we are, what we do.
Yes.
And that's why we're able to be consistent with it, because if it wasn't who we are, then this would probably be a nightmare.
For sure. For sure. Because imagine having to keep a facade all the time. That isn't really who you are. I mean, that's exhausting. All right. So that's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button if you like this conversation.
I want a like button because we went hard for this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we post a video. If you're listening on any of our platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave us your reviews. They're really helpful for us. That's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Until next time.
Peace.
Before you leave, we have a very, very special announcement next Monday. So don't forget to tune in because it's going to get juicy, people. That's all I'm saying. Stay tuned because it's going to get very good.